Alright, live. Connecting. Oh, you know, he might have had chat enabled on that, actually, because some dude from the Rotary. Is it also just picking up me saying that? Alright, I'm going to leave it then.
It's one hit, so it's good. I set it up right in front of the projector.
No, it'll be fine.
It's got 20% in it. Which one's the arbitrary for? Alrighty, I'll change that, but I'll let them know. They know they're welcome.
You guys are fishing the net then? Okay, let me
Okay, so I'm going to introduce Michael Shelton. Yeah, I've been here before. I was here with George 2 years. 16, 17. I was here with George. I think, I forget who spoke. I think one of the Creekers spoke 1 year, and then, yeah, and then I think it was Raymond that year, one of the years, and then I don't remember who else spoke. Yeah. So you just have one captain, right? You know, I just have one. Michael
Yeah, in terms of cheerleaders.
I'm gonna introduce
Hey, how are you? You want a derby mask? These are from Ray. She just brought them out to my truck when I was up there. How are you? Good. How are you?
This one I got from
Yes, I thought I think I'm Jack. Luckily, it wasn't my Achilles like that. No surgery. That's right, you graduated at the end of this week. I would have had time to do it.
Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. So I'll say the first thing and then you guys just repeat. First, is it the truth? It is the truth. You guys did so good. Second, is it fair to all concerned? It is fair to all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And last, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And then typically we say bon appetit. But today I'm going to introduce Jack Walsh. Ed Sheehy unfortunately could not be here today to MC this event. He's very sad to miss it. But Jack Walsh is going to step in, thank you, and take it from here.
Thank you, Joey. As Joey said, I'm pinch hitting today. I received a call from Ed Sheehy, who has been the MC of this program since 2011. He was a graduate of Derby High School and played in this game. And Rocky point. In any case, Ed had a family emergency last night, but he did provide me with some of his notes, so hopefully I'm going to get through this. And just as background, I did this for 15 years, and it was an honor to do it. I think this game and the traditions that go along with it are very special to both of these towns. And, you know, we missed it last year, and we're missing the game this year, but we're still going to celebrate over 100 years of two communities coming together in what's been a friendly rivalry. There are some other rivalries that are nasty. I have to tell you, that this game has never been nasty. Maybe for 2 hours it's nasty. But other than that, it's just a great tradition. So let me start by first introducing the members of our head table, and then I'll come back to some of Ed's remarks. So, at our head table today, we've got members of both cities. And what we've done is, technically we're in Derby, but Derby would have been the visiting team for Thursday's game. So Derby will be going first on all the introductions and all the speaking programs. So let me start on my left, all the way down at the end. And we've got the new football coach at Derby, Steve Boehner. We'll talk more about Steve later. Next to him is the Derby alumni speaker this year, and that's Rob Romano. And next to him is the Derby Superintendent of Schools, Doc Conway, and special thanks to Doc for making this all happen. So Doc, special thanks to you. Next to him is Ken Cernick, who I've known for a number of years when he was the headmaster at the intermediate school. No introduction. Next to him is longtime assistant football coach, and now the head football coach at Shelton, Mike DeFelice. And the Shelton guest speaker is Bill Manning. Now we have a couple of empty seats at the head table because we always bring the mayors along. We just found out the mayor of Derby is out of town, so he's not going to be joining us. But I'm sure before we're done, Mayor Loretti will be here because he never misses. His watch sometimes doesn't function the same as everyone else's, but he always shows up. He always shows up. And there are a couple of other people in the audience that I'd like to introduce. In the back is the Derby High School principal, Jen Olson. Jen. And sitting next to her is the new athletic director at Derby High School, Ted Cosgrove. And on the Shelton side, we've got Kathy Riddle, who's the head, do I say this? It's principal again now, okay. Now Shelton is, and so sitting next to her is Scott Snell, who is the athletic director at Shelton. And I'm looking in the back, and I'm pleased to see that we have 3 members of the Derby Board of Education who have joined us today, so welcome. In thinking about this game, Ed put together some notes about this building and how this building got here. And this building is a tribute to J.R. Payton, whose name you see on the front and back. And J.R. Payton was a Derby High School graduate in 1915. J.R. Payton went from Derby to Yale. World War I broke out at that point. So he left Yale and he became a fighter pilot. World War I. J.R. Payton, hero of World War I. When the war ended, he went back to Yale, he got his degree, and he immediately went to work for Union Carbide in New York City. And he did very well. In fact, he did so well that they sent him around the world and he became head of their operations in Asia. Another piece of that story is while he was traveling with Union Carbide, he rekindled a friendship with his future wife. And here's the interesting thing. J.R. Payton's wife was a graduate of Shelton High School. They had 2 children, Joan Payton And there was a son as well, whose museum is over on the site. I don't know if we can get that over for people who have a quick look. But they didn't have the same growing up experience as J.R. Payton. J.R. Payton always made a point of talking about how wonderful his life was growing up in Derby. He was a baseball player and he was a football player. He played in the very first Thanksgiving Day football game in 1914, and Derby had won 19-0. But he always raved about how special it was growing up. Well, Joan did not have that same experience. She was traveling around the world. She didn't settle down and have the roots. But Joan did all right for herself. She became manager of her own personal hedge fund, which, to put in perspective, I think the assets are over $100 billion right now.
135, yeah.
Yeah, not too shabby. Well, Joan, from hearing the stories of both her father and mother, started to give back to the community. Early on, it was in the form of scholarships. She gave a scholarship to Derby and another one to Shelton. And very unique. There were 4-year scholarships, I think they still are. And she'd been doing that for years. When she decided to do something more, she didn't know what it was, but she called the Derby High School principal and said, "Hey, do you have anything else going on that maybe I could get involved in? I might be willing to contribute something." The principal immediately turned it over to Doc, and that conversation turned from scholarships to what you see here, this magnificent facility. You know, I don't like to throw out numbers, but let's just put this in perspective. This is over a $20 million facility, and most of that money came from Joan Payton in honor of her father, a 1915 Derby High School graduate. So it's a great story, and there are a lot of great stories like that. Shelton and Derby coming together. Even my own experience. My father was a Derby High graduate. My mother was a Shelton High School graduate. I went to Derby High School, but I was the boys' basketball coach in Shelton for 10 years. Great experience all the way around. And we're going to get into that a lot more after dinner. The way the program will work now is we're going to take a break to eat, and then we'll come back with the speaking program. So with that, I don't know where our servers are. I think they're getting ready. So enjoy your dinner, and we'll come back. Thank you.
Literally everybody got up on this.
I'm going to have to ask everyone to sit down. It's going to take another 10 minutes, so in order to get this whole program in, we are going to start part of the speaking program first. So get your drinks. All right, we're going to start with our head coaches. As I said, Derby is a visiting team, so we're going to start with Steve Boehner, who's technically in his second year as the head football coach at Derby. But we know last year no one got a chance to play a CIAC football schedule. And in Steve's case, I think it's even a little bit crazy because some of you may not know, Steve was also the head baseball coach at Derby before becoming the football coach. And what's interesting about Steve, in his last 2 years, this complex was under construction. So for 2 years before he became the football coach, he never played a home game. Derby had to play all of their games on the road for 2 years. Then he got to be head football coach. And the first thing that happened is the season got canceled. So, Steve, you got no place to go but up from here. So, Steve Bain.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank the Derby Shelton Rotary Club for putting this great event together and all their members. This event is rich in tradition. I was actually talking to Jack a little bit earlier about this. This is my third time coming to this event. First as the head coach, but twice as an assistant before. And it's organizations like yours that enrich the community and provide such cool experiences for our high school student athletes to just enrich everything that they do. I'd like to thank the administration of both schools, Derby High School and Shelton High School, for allowing the student athletes to participate in this. I'm sure they would much rather be in class right now, but yeah, so thank you for that. I want to thank the coaches of both teams. Right, all the work you guys do throughout the year, both at Shelton and Coach Steve Lee's squad, as well as mine, for everything that they've done this year. And players and cheerleaders, for all the efforts you guys have put in collectively this year. If there's any advice I can give you guys, make sure over the next week with Thanksgiving coming up, thank all the people who supported you along the way, right? Because you guys don't get to this forum today. You don't get to sit here today without your parents or your family members taking you to practice when you're young. You're the fans in the crowd, members of the community who put on clinics and make sure you have your seasons when you're 10 or 11 years old. And sometimes we don't think about those events today, but make sure over the next couple days, thank people who have kind of helped guide you along that path. Make sure you thank your families. I want to take a minute to also appreciate the seniors from last year's football and cheerleading teams. Right, they didn't get the opportunity to be at this function, at this event. One of our 2020 grads actually has helped us out throughout the year. He's here today, Zarian Montgomery. So thank you to those guys and girls. Those players will never get the opportunity to attend this, and they never got to play their senior year of football. So it's just really important on days like today. Like one of our themes this year has been keeping perspective in what we've gotten this year. That there was a bunch of kids last year who didn't get this. They didn't get this opportunity, and those guys and girls are foundational parts of these football programs. I want to take the opportunity to wish the Shelton Gales good luck as they prepare for the state tournament. If there's one thing I've learned about football in the Valley, that although the rivalries are really strong here, when it comes to state tournament time, everybody kind of supports each other and roots for fellow Valley football teams. So we're definitely pulling for you down here in Derby, as you guys, no matter who you play next Tuesday. This year at Derby, our program has gone through and overcome a number of challenges. The pandemic affected our team in a variety of ways, some more than others. At Derby High School, we graduated nearly half of our roster in 2020. Coming in 2021, we really didn't know what we had. We lacked experience on the field, and we knew our numbers weren't particularly strong. And we were getting through most of our summer workouts with like 15 to 20 guys every day in the weight room. So our guys worked hard, and we knew that we wanted to be we knew they wanted to be part of what we were building. We were able to grow the program. We started the season with somewhere between 28 and 30 guys. We knew that we had some strong leadership in the form of our senior class. Between our three guys, Derek Ramirez, who couldn't be here today, he's actually traveled out of state to celebrate Thanksgiving with his family. Kanye Bailey, and Michael Hyder, who you'll hear from a little bit later. Those guys were all huge leaders for us and did a lot of great things. All three of our guys knew that we were really young, so they knew we only had 3 seniors. They knew we were really young, and for some athletes, that can be a really defeating thing to look at a program that there's a youth movement happening. But our guys showed up every single day and worked really hard, and they became leaders on and off the field. I watched, especially these 2 guys in particular become like not only role models on the field, but role models in school, like making sure they teach our younger guys how the right way to behave, the right way to act, the right way to do things. And I could not be more proud of them. Their ability to show up every day, knowing they were key pieces on a young team, intent on developing our future, something that takes more than courage and fortitude can describe. So really, really proud of them. In closing, I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming today. I want to especially recognize our 3 cheerleaders. Our cheerleading coach couldn't be here today. Our 3 cheerleaders who are our captains, Brigliano, Bridget Wright, and Alyssa. If you guys could just, Alyssa Crusoe, if you guys could just stand up and get a round of applause. And these girls have been really supportive of our athletes all year, and what they do does not go overlooked. So in closing, I just want to say, thank you, Shelton. Good luck as you guys head into the state tournament, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be hearing from you again in a little while. And now I want to introduce the head coach of Shelton High School, Mike DeFelice, who is certainly no stranger. He's been here himself. He's one of our speakers. He's been an assistant coach at Shelton and didn't do too bad for his first year as the head coach. He's got him in the state playoffs very well. I may be getting ahead of myself, but I don't think so. I think I looked at the points. I think Shelton will be in the playoff and deservedly so. So with that, Mike DeFelice.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks, everybody. I'd also like to thank the Rotary Club for putting this event on. I remember as a senior, actually was down in downtown Shelton at the Russian club above JC's down there, and it was a great experience. And we used to actually sit half Shelton players, half Derby players back then at a table. And some of those Derby guys I still talk to today. So it was an awesome experience. I'd like to thank the administration at Shelton High School and throughout Shelton, from our superintendent and our Board of Education, and to Mrs. Riddle and Scott Snell, our athletic coordinator. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to not only support me, but support our team and what we need to do to be successful. Mayor Loretti, he's not here yet, but I'm sure he will sneak in at some point. Also a big supporter of us, so I'd like to thank him. I'd like to thank my coaches. None of them could be here right now. They all are either teaching in another district, or Lieutenant Stanko is out somewhere patrolling the streets of Derby. So thanks to all of them. And most importantly, I'd like to thank my seniors. We didn't really know what was going to happen with this season. And we, from the beginning, said we wanted to make the most of it. And we wanted to just put it out there and see what was going to happen. We could have been 2-8 or 8-2 like we are now. We really didn't know because of not having that season last year, having just the little bit of a workouts that we were able to have last year. But starting with the summer, once we got the green light to start using our facilities in the summer and our weight room, they were all in and everything that we were trying to do. So thank you to my seniors for that. I'm a history teacher at Shelton High School, so the traditions of not only this, but Thanksgiving and everything really get to me. And it's one of the things that last year really hit me hard. It was the first Thanksgiving in 30 years that I wasn't going to a football game in the morning. And I didn't really know what to do with myself. And I kind of joked with my friends, half jokingly. I said, what are we supposed to do? Be with our families all day now? I don't know what we're supposed to do. Because there was always a game to get to. There was always church in the morning, and then we're going to the locker room, and then we're getting ready to play. As Coach was mentioning, it's a big tradition, not only for us, but throughout the whole valley, Thanksgiving. We have some of the longest rivalries going in the state, Ansonia, Naugatuck, us. So it's a huge deal for us in this part of the state. High school football, especially high school football on Thanksgiving. So, like Coach was saying, cherish those moments. I told my seniors on our senior night, to cherish that moment you have with your parents out there as you're walking out in the field. Take a minute on Thanksgiving and be thankful for everything you have, because there's a lot of teams out there that wish that they were in the position we were going to be in next Tuesday, and there's a lot of kids that wish that they were in the position that you're in. Okay? It's a special sport, football. Not everybody can play football, and the people that put in the effort and put in the work, they really deserve it. And whether you play one play or 100 plays, you should be proud of that. I'd just like to end quickly by just introducing our senior cheerleaders who are here with us, also our captains, I believe. We have Laura Carr, Alyssa Jarman, and Kaylee Cicero. Girls. Thank you for everything you do for the boys. I know they appreciate it. They probably don't say it enough because they're teenage boys. But thank you for everything you do for them. And thanks for everyone for being here and having us.
Thank you, Coach. And with that, we're ready to eat. Now, we're going to do this in an orderly fashion so we can do it as quickly as possible. And because our speakers are going to have to be doing some more work, we're going to allow the head table to line up in the back and get your meals first. And then we'll call the other tables one at a time. Let's start with some of the football players. I know they're going to eat more than anyone else. So this table and football cheerleaders from Durban, you can get mine.
Which way is the line going? Go that way, go that way, go that way. Let's go with this table of football players and the cheerleaders in the middle.
Doing all right. How about you? Great. Staying afloat.
Got it.
Let's write text. Go through the guidelines. CIAC guidelines. Aye. briefly do that, but I'm kind of confused. I was just talking to Scott and Kathy. I guess we're making us make the decision. Yeah. The impression that I got originally. Yeah. It's up to us.
Whether you do the vaccinated or unmasked.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see what Jess recommends. Because then you're going to have teams from outside if you don't follow.
All right, let's go with the ladies of Rotary next.
The problem is the pressure that we're getting when people get to that stage. We're going to say that this certain group doesn't wear their
Correct.
That's what we're going to do.
And the people that are going to wear the crosswalks that are pushing masks back, they should never have all. But I think it's going to have the same thing in schools. It'll be a local decision. Yeah, what's up? He is? I did when I first did it, and somebody texted me and said, then the message came up, stopped for. So you can see it on a laptop, it's okay now. It's recorded, and be able to watch it later. Yes.
All right, now let's have our Derby assistant coaches and our guests from the Board of Ed and our high school principal from Derby next.
So maybe we're having a
Really don't know.
You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So we just have to. The next thing is
And last, but certainly not least, the gentleman of Rotary.
you guys do any clinics for the 5 to 11 at the booster already?
We did 5 to 11 clinic 2 weeks ago because the third week, Monday is going to be the second shot. About 3 weeks.
That's a great number.
It was.
Wow. That's very good. They are. Yeah, as soon as the board switched parties after the elections, they had already planned the clinic, already had a couple hundred people signed up. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Steve? That's what Chef was making in this one. He's just used to doing it.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest now.
Well, I talked to him. He said they're already taking stakes is gonna be the biggest game to have. Numbers wise, because it's not having and there's so many implications of that game. The teams that can get in at all have other nights. He thinks
Oh yeah. I see her. Definitely mellowed since then. That's like what's the break?
last night. Okay, for like last night. Last night. Yesterday, today, and the so I came down here sitting there after dinner, and I said, "Gabby, like, hey, what are you doing? What's up with tonight?" Rapunzel and princesses. Nah. But I do like cute outfits or no? Like a superhero? Yeah. We got a person this morning. So last night Kelly gets home like, yeah, your outfit's on the dresser. It's already there. She's like Spider-Man this morning. Wow. So Kelly goes to the first goes, you're sure you want to do Spider-Man thing? I'm like, she said throw a tantrum. She said Spider-Man thing. So we're going to do Spider-Man later.
ENFHS? Yeah, nice. For our basketball. All live, automatic. Yeah, we just set up the schedule at the beginning of the season. Every one of them is live.
Just let you know, plenty of food left over here, so please, if anyone wants seconds, go and get it now. And in a few minutes, we're going to start this meeting.
kind of have to be a mask for you. I said, no, they came out. I'm like, oh, grab my mask. I just talked for them right away.
That's the best time to visit DC. I was down there over at Christmas Grateful one year. There's a main apartment right next to the Jefferson Memorial. And just walk around and there's nobody there at this time. They're just setting up for Obama's first year. That was the wall at all. Oh, yeah. That clock is 6, 7, 8. It changed a little bit today, you know. And then they'll fly and see you there. It's hard to put it in perspective. Are you like my first year? Or like my second year? Yeah. I was like a football. And I'm looking at
That guy was
yeah, actually, there's a whole bunch of them there. It's cool. I mean, there's a lot up there. Right? You literally have something real. Yeah. I know years ago. Hope that wasn't the wedding.
Okay, we're going to get started again. But before I do that, I want to thank Sal and the whole crew at the Derby Food Service for the incredible meal we've had today. Sal, thank you, always an outstanding job. There's still cake to come, and they'll be passing out. If anyone wants to volunteer to help them pass it out, that would be great as well. And I also want to recognize Steve Baylock. Steve, stand up. Steve is a graduate of Shelton High School, went on to play football at Bowling Green. And Steve, how many years have you been putting this on? Putting this on? Okay, so you've been in charge. And I do want to talk just for a second about this tradition. You know, the community has always valued the educational system and the sports programs in both towns. And if you look at the history of it, this luncheon, or some version of it, goes back at least to the 1930s. Okay, at least in the 1930s, and early on it wasn't the Rotary Club that did it. It was the Board of Trade, which was kind of a forerunner of the Chamber of Commerce, and it wasn't always a sit-down luncheon like this. They used to take the teams to New York to see a Yankee game. Now, when I say a Yankee game, I'm not talking about the baseball Yankees. I'm talking about the football Yankees in the NFL. So they used to take them there and take them out to a steak dinner. And then gradually it evolved, and it was hosted by the Kiwanis Club and the Derby Shelton Rotary Club. And since 1967, it's been the Derby Shelton Rotary Club that's been doing it. So, you know, well over 70, 80 years, this has been a tradition in the Valley. Also want to mention the game itself. Depending on whether you're from Shelton or from Derby, you're going to say this game either dates back to 1904, when Shelton thinks they won a game, it's 27-0, I believe, or to 1905, when Derby won one of two games played then. I've kind of ruled out both the 1904 game and the second 1905 game, and by my count, Shelton has won 60 games, Derby has won 47, and there have been seven ties throughout the history. As I mentioned earlier, the first game played on Thanksgiving was in 1914, but it wasn't a continuing tradition until 1922. In 1922, the first game of what became 99 consecutive years was held in Shelton, and it was held at the SAS field, which I believe is probably Lafayette Field today, where the Pop Warner teams play. And the score of the very first game was 2-0 0, and the winner of that first game was Shelton. So that's a little bit of history. You know, I've got notes. I could tell you a million stories about the game and the traditions and the great things and the odd things that went on with it, but we're way behind schedule, so I'm not going to be able to deal with that today. So let's pick up with the traditional part of the program, and I'm going to bring Coach Boehner back, and we're going to have the introduction of the captains as our next part of the program. So, Steve?
So to speak on behalf of our seniors and our captains, I wanted to pick a student athlete that had a great perspective on our last 2 years here in the program. Somebody who has kind of a lens both back into the tradition of Derby football, as well as can speak to what's happening and what's going on here right now. Michael Hyder is one of our senior and co-captain. He grew up hearing stories all about Derby football. Was raised watching games on Friday nights. His dad actually had the opportunity to speak here a couple years back. I've had the privilege of coaching Michael for 4 years, both in baseball and football, and watching him grow up, both as an athlete and as a young man. And I couldn't be more proud of who he is and the leadership he brought to our team this year. So our student speaker, Mike Hyder.
Good afternoon to all the athletes, coaches, administrators, everyone here. I just want to start by thanking Coach Boehner and the Derby Shelton Rotary for letting me speak today. My dad attended this banquet during his senior year in 1990, like Coach Boehner said, and he was a guest speaker a few years ago, so it's an honor for me to be here today. Like a lot of high school football players, I started preparing for the season on the first day of summer. On June 12th, I woke up at 7 in the morning and came to the field to start conditioning and doing drills and just getting ready. I remember when I lost for my junior year, when being able to play 7-on-7 and practicing helmets, and I know some of my closest friends had lost from their senior year just last year, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't take my chance to play for granted. Going into the season, we knew the situation we were in when it came to the numbers. And we did our best to get guys to come out and play, but at the end of the day, you can't force someone to have the desire to come out. So we put that to the side and focused on Woodland Week 1. Each week of our season, our numbers got thinner and thinner, and we knew that overall we were a young team. With only 3 seniors and 4 juniors, we had to rely on underclassmen to assume a role that most of them are unprepared for. It was also a great opportunity for those underclassmen to get experience at the varsity level, and most of them aren't prepared for that. It was an opportunity to set a foundation for the program for years to come through the underclassmen. The freshman class specifically has the biggest numbers and have a real opportunity of doing big things down the line. On a team with a lot of guys, most freshmen are practice squad players and don't suit up for games on Friday nights. Some of our freshmen don't even realize the valuable experience they got this season and how valuable it'll be for them down the line. Obviously, the first 5 games didn't go as we would have hoped on the scoreboard, but one thing I kept going back to was perspective. Perspective was written on our whiteboard in the locker room for most of the season, and it was up there for a few reasons. The underclassmen should look at the season through the perspective that even though we were losing games on the field, they were getting valuable experience and getting a head start at the varsity level compared to other guys their age. I looked at it from the perspective of my senior season and some of my friends' senior season last year. I would have done anything to be able to play the remaining 5 games on the schedule, but that just wasn't a reality. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that my friends who had lost all 10 of their games last year would have done anything to get a 5-game season like I had. So I chose to view this season as an opportunity. Every practice, every game, every film session was an opportunity to lead, to grow, to build, And it was through small moments like that that I learned more about life than I ever thought I would. From my coach's leadership and guidance, I learned how to be a leader on and off the field, and how to be a role model for my younger teammates. My coaches never allowed us to think that quitting was an option, because in life, quitting is never an option. Having said that, I want to take this opportunity to thank my coaches. A lot of people have formed their opinions on us from the outside looking in, and they might look at it as if we folded the program and gave up. But our coaches did the opposite of that. Coach Boehner, Coach Clark, Coach Grillo, Coach Matt, Coach Baker, and Coach Cotter did everything they could for us to prepare week in and week out, even when people around us were raising the question if we could get enough healthy players for the game. They kept morale high and made sure that we were at our best in practice every day. We have faced more adversity in the last 2 seasons than anyone could imagine, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys realize how much you've meant to us and how much you've taught us about life, and that we all appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for your leadership during a very difficult time for Derby High Sports. Mike, you want to come up and introduce your captain? Our captains. I give him a lot of bonus points for having to walk around with that cast. I don't know how you do it.
That's not too bad. We'll talk later, Ray. Alright, so this year we had 3 captains as selected by our team. First, Tyler Rich. Wait for some Tyler. Matt Lokovich. And last captain is a captain that's going to speak for us as Jake Villalobos. Come on up, Jake. I chose Jake to speak on behalf of us, because I'm not sure if Matt or Tyler can speak in public, but I chose Jake because Jake really embodies everything we want in a Shelton football player. He's a great student athlete. He comes to practice every day, ready to work, not just for himself, but for his teammates. And we bounced him around in a lot of different positions this year. Never once did he complain. He didn't say, well, I want to play that and not this, or whatever was best for the team. That's what Jake was all about, which is why I felt he was a perfect representative for us. So, Jake.
I would just like to begin by saying that it's an honor to have been chosen to speak today. Thanks, Coach. To be a part of this tradition, I'm very thankful for it. Talking about thankfulness, it's the perfect time of year to talk about it. Thanksgiving, right around the corner. Thankful for family, friends, the brotherhood that we built together on both teams, Derby and Shelton, even coaches who played, alumni and everything. This year, more than others, especially from all that we've lost last year, and talking about all the players that couldn't experience what we've experienced, it's really sinks in, and really appreciate what we've been able to experience. Even with Derby not being able to play our Thanksgiving game and having to sadly cancel the rest of their season, it's so fortunate that these boys and your teammates were able to experience something compared to the seniors that last year that couldn't experience what you guys have. And we may not be having a Thanksgiving game this year, but I'm still fortunate and thankful for the fact that I was able to be a part of it my freshman and sophomore year. It's actually it's funny because one of my favorite stories to tell was from my freshman year, with a couple other players that got pulled up to suit up for the Thanksgiving game and the playoff game that year. I remember, I know some of you guys have probably already heard this story, and I like to tell it a lot, but the upperclassmen forced us, freshmen, underclassmen duties, to carry out the water. And think about this. I'm just a small little scrawny freshman player. I'm carrying out this water jug half my size. And, I was a rookie. It was my first time. I didn't screw on the cap all the way. Some of the freezing water spilled my pants. pants. That water ended up freezing. I was standing on the sideline with frozen pants all game. So imagine how that wasn't so great. But you know, it's just memories like that, like little special things that make this so special. Even like just being there watching the game as a little kid, or like when I get older, I know for a fact I'm always going to be coming back to watch these Thanksgiving games. It's a part of my life. It always will be. And it's just that what makes it so special. Finally, I would just like to thank the staff for both teams, Shelton, the Rotary Club, Derby. Thanks for hosting us. That's it. Thank you very much.
Well done, well done. I can see why these two teams do as well they do with the leadership that they have. And you know, I just want to say for Mike, I remember when your father spoke. He was being overly modest. His father played on 1985 team, if I'm correct, that won a state championship, no?
Yeah, it was 1990, yeah.
I miss the years, you know, when you get old, you miss those things. But yeah, and I remember how emotional he was as a speaker and how much it meant to him. And a lot of those videos of our past speakers are out there on YouTube. If you want to go and see how much it's meant to each of the people who came back. But right now, we're moving on to our speakers this year. And let me bring Coach Boehner back. He's got a very special guest.
So before I bring up our speaker today, Romano will be taking over our football club. Our president of our football club's been involved in Derby football for about 5 decades, and I just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge Bill Pucci in the back of the room, who's retiring from our football club. And we appreciate all the work he's done over the years and all the athletes he's helped to impact here at Derby High School. Our speaker today, our alumni speaker today, is a member of the graduating class of 1984. He is a football and wrestling athlete here. He'll be the new president of our football club moving forward after this season. He is a former sports agent and an attorney, and he's also an assistant professor at St. John's, Mr. Romano.
Hello? Alright, so this little speech I'm going to do is not for you guys. Alright, so Kenny, just, you could bow out. George, you could bow out. It's all good. This is for the athletes. Alright, this is for you guys. And when I say athletes, I mean football players and the cheerleaders, because you're all athletes. Alright? So, in 1983, I sat in your seat. I sat right there. This building wasn't here, but I sat there. And a couple days later, we ended up playing a football game down in our field here. And honestly, I don't remember the game. I don't remember much about the game. I remember it was a cloudy, rainy day. I remember it was cloudy and rainy. The kind of day that defensive linemen love, that muddy kind of game where, the offense is going to fumble and not get good traction. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, I was a defensive lineman. At 5'8", 145 pounds, I was a defensive lineman here at Derby High School. All right? So I don't remember much about the game. I remember we lost. I don't want to talk about that, but I remember we lost. But what I do remember, what I took away from that game, is the friendships. All right? So the guys and cheerleaders and girls, we played together every week. We were in the trenches together every week. We sacrificed every week. We gave up time with our families every week. We got muddy together every week. We sweated. All that stuff. That's what I remember. Those friendships from all those people that I played this game with. To the point where 34 years later, the same person I flipped a coin with out on that field was the best man in my wedding. Right? 34 years later, he stood beside me down on that field, and he stood beside me when I asked my wife to be with me for the rest of our lives. So, but what I also took away from that time is the teamwork, the dedication, the hard work, the discipline that we as athletes have to give. And I took that to Springfield College, where I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to play football. Right, back then, Springfield was a D2, so they gave scholarships. So I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to play there. And now again, 5'9", 145 pounds, playing college football, wow. But it was all that I learned here on this field that I translated and brought to Springfield College so I could succeed there. And what became apparent to me at that time was success on the field was great, but success in the classroom was even more important. All right, so I buckled down, I got my grades up, I did well in the classroom to the point where, all right, by my senior year, my counselor was like, well, your grades are good enough, you can go to grad school. And being from Derby, I was like, I didn't know what grad school was. I didn't know what that meant. And they're like, no, you can continue on with your education. You can go to law school, med school, get an MBA, do whatever you want. You have those skills. So I ended up going to law school. Went down to Louisiana, spent some time in Louisiana, got my degree, and I was like, okay. But then I took all those skills that I learned on this field and I transitioned them after graduating from law school into a career. I decided that I wanted to be a sports agent. So I took all those skills, all those talents, all that discipline, all that hard work, and I started a sports agency. And ProStar Sports out of Colorado, we represented NFL athletes. One time we had 85 NFL athletes as part of our organization. And then I went back to school. I took those skills again. I said, well, this is fun. And I ended up going back to school. Went back to Columbia University, the city of New York. Yeah. So some guy from Park Avenue, Derby, Connecticut, got an opportunity to go to Columbia University, one of the best schools in the world. And it was because of what I learned on the field here that I transitioned and brought to Columbia University. All that dedication, all that hard work, all that desire, I brought to Columbia, and I did well at Columbia. I ended up graduating #1 in my class from Columbia University. So I transitioned that afterwards into being a professor, what I do now. I said, well, now I want to take those skills and I want to start giving back to the students and the student athletes. So now I'm currently a professor at St. John's University in Queens, New York. So why I'm telling you this is because as athletes, you guys can do whatever you want. You guys can accomplish whatever you want to do. All right, because you have the skills and the building blocks and the foundations to accomplish anything. Right, you've done it. You've done it week in and week out. And you can continue to do it as your career goes forward. Okay? And that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. You have those skills, you have those building blocks to succeed in whatever you want to do. So I wish you the best. You're going to all do better than I ever could. So congratulations. I'm sorry there's not a game this year, but take what you've learned and move forward. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Words of wisdom. All right, Mike. Got another great speaker from Shelton, as we always have. And again, all these speeches, not all, a lot of these speeches are out on YouTube.
All right, so for our alumni speaker, I chose a player that I actually coached as a freshman. And when he was a freshman linebacker for us, he made me into a great linebacker coach because he knew exactly what to do as soon as he stepped onto the football field. And that translated over the next 4 years at Shelton High School. Billy Manning graduated from Shelton High School in 2004. His junior year, he was all SEC Housatonic and all Valley. His senior year, he was all SEC Housatonic, all Valley, and all state. Also his senior year, which was the 2003 season, he was a captain and a captain on our state championship team for 2003, playing inside linebacker and an unknown position in Shelton these days, fullback. We don't really have a fullback anymore, Belly, sorry. But he did an amazing job in his 4 years at Shelton, and he continues to serve the community that he grew up in and he loved. He's currently the Assistant Director for Shelton Parks and Recreation. He is married with 2 beautiful children, and he is really everything a coach hopes a player is going to turn out to be. Now, not everyone, 99.9% of us are not going to make it into the big leagues for anything. But what we can do is win in life, and that's what Billy Manning does every day with how he goes about his life and how he has chosen to live his life. So, Billy Manning.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. I would also appreciate it being told this is going to be live streamed. I could have made some notes. I'm a very emotional person. I like to speak from the heart. I've done something like this before, so kind of like to start right there. But this game has been in my family for a very long time. My grandfather played, I believe it was in the 40s. And he actually started in Derby and moved to Shelton his senior year. He played in the game his senior year. My uncle played in the 80s, and I played in the 2000s. I played 6 years at Pop Warner, 4 years in high school, and 2 years at Springfield College. So look at that, kid from Derby, kid from Shelton, both same guy. I did recreation management, instead of the sports management. I was not first in my class. But I can remember every single game I played against her. I went 2-4 in Pop Warner. I went 2-1 in high school. We didn't play as freshmen. I don't believe I've had a freshman team that year. But I lost 5 games in high school. 3 times to West Haven, 1 time to Notre Dame West Haven, and in 2002 we lost to Derby. I will never forget that game. I will never forget that game. E.J. Henderson will never let me forget that game. He was the quarterback for the Derby team, if you guys remember. One other game, the only other game I remember is the state championship game, but you never forget the losses. I watched that Derby 2002 game every day in the offseason. I did not want to forget that feeling. My friends growing up, or you guys, the football team, I had 10 groomsmen. I had a football team. I had 11 guys, 8 or 10 guys. That was my wedding party. My wife, it drove her crazy. She didn't, and I was like, it's gotta be 11. Sorry, it's gotta be 11. To this day. Out of those 11, it was 8 guys I grew up playing football with. All right. Growing up, though, I was always told we're not friends with Derby. To say it very, very lightly. All right. I couldn't talk to anyone from Derby. I didn't like anyone from Derby, and I didn't know why. I would just say it's just how we were brought up, through Pop Warner, and it was a rivalry. The night before that 2002 game, it might have been a day or two before, but Coach Panto took us in the room, and he goes, guys, I do not recommend we play this game on Thanksgiving. There was a snowstorm, the field was covered in ice, it was frozen. He told us, I gave this decision to the team a few years ago. We played in a torrential downpour. Shelton was supposed to win that game, it ended up being a tie. And instead of listening to probably the greatest high school football coach in this state, we decided to, let's play this game. Let's play on a field that should never have been played on. And we lost to a better team that day. Derby was better than us that day. They were 2-8 going into the game. We were 8-2. We had nothing to lose but the state playoffs, and a very winnable state playoffs that year. I had a decent game. I had something like 18 tackles. I had a touchdown run. I was told that I was penciled in for the Silver Turkey. But Adam Manning took that away from me. Adam returned a punt to the 1-yard line. They ran the ball in. A few drives later, E.J. Anderson threw a touchdown pass, and they didn't have a kicker. Derby did not have a kicker in 2002. But Adam Manning told the coach, I'll kick it. And he did. Ball got right over that upright. Derby won 13-12. That team that I had hated my entire life, they took the state playoffs from me, they took it from my brothers, and that was tough. But that clock hadn't hit zero for more than a few seconds, and someone was holding me, and it was Adam Manning. He gave me like the best hug of my life, and I needed it. I needed it. Like everything was gone inside of me. But that kid from Derby, the one I was supposed to hate, was holding me up, and that meant so much to me. Adam then ran off and celebrated with his team, and I went and didn't eat turkey that day. A few months later, I was recovering from, I think I might have separated my shoulder, and I'm at, I think it was OSM in Shelton, and this kid sitting next to me, this short kid. I was able to call someone short for one time in my life, and it was Adam. He was rehabbing an ankle, I was rehabbing a shoulder. We started talking about that game, and a very good friendship came of that. A lot of those guys from Derby became some of my very good friends. We all went to each other's stags, a lot of us were at each other's weddings. I traveled the country with EJ, Jose Rivera, Adam. We played flag football all over this country. And it was great. I can tell you now, the game's not going to be played. Like, we're the same people. I don't know why I was convinced that we weren't, but we are. We're all brothers. We're all sisters. It's a great tradition to have. It's tough that it's not being played this year. It really is. I haven't gotten to watch many games because I do officiate now. So I haven't got to see many, but it's a shame it's not played. But like I said, you guys all have a lot to look forward to. Derby, you're not done. You guys are not done with this game. You have a lot of work to do. It's up to you guys to keep it going. Help those youth, help your coaches, do everything you can. This game is special. Shelton, I'm not going to lie, that I've been a little proud to say that I was one of the last state champions. I was the last state champion in this town for football. I'm tired of it, guys. I'm tired of saying I was the last one. Bring it home this year. Thank you.
I think that's about all you need to know about this game and what it means, not just while you're playing, but afterwards. I was at that game, and the consolation for you guys is that I believe, and I don't think I'm wrong, I think that was the last time the Derby beat Shelton. It's been a long time. Bill Bucci just confirmed, so I know it's right. I was just thinking, the first time I came to a Thanksgiving night game was, I think it was 1957, and it was out here, and I think Shelton won like 6 or 7 years in a row, and Derby won the game. I had never seen so many people in one place in my entire life. I was a little kid, all kinds of people, and the game ended, and next thing I knew, the goalposts were torn down. The goalposts were wooden back then, and they were on the goal line, and it didn't end there because they picked up the goalpost, and they marched carrying the goalposts all the way downtown, which I didn't realize was a tradition. It always went on. There were all kinds of crazy traditions. There were years where the schools, early on, where the student body marched from the school to the side of the game before the game. Both sides. They'd bring their band and they'd just march through town. Each town would have a bonfire the night before the game. And then, kind of following up, big rivals. The same day the game ended, that very night the home team hosted a victory dance. And both schools went to the victory dance, not just the winning school. There were years where they held their pep rallies, not in their own schools. They held a joint pep rally together at the Sterling Opera House. I've never heard that any place. There are just so many great traditions for this game, and I just hope that we see this continue. You know, we're talking about 1904 and 1905, and it's still going. So let's hope that it continues. We're here today to celebrate, okay, to celebrate what it's been for, 116 years, 117 years. And you're all now part of it. And I'm tremendously proud of our Rotary Club. This year, we could have just walked away and said, well, no game, we're not going to have this luncheon. But everyone in the club said, no, it's a tradition that we have to keep alive. So I'm very proud of the Rotary Club for all that they've done. And I just like to close by saying thanks to Ed. I feel really bad for him. You don't know how much this meant for him to be up here. And even though he's not here, he spent hours in the library coming up with all his research that I kind of butchered and didn't get into the program today. But so keep Ed in your prayers. I think everything is fine. There's no real issue. He just had to go get tested. Someone in his family had been exposed to COVID, but they're not sick, and I don't think he'll be sick either. But, out of an abundance of caution, he decided to stay away from this. So with that, I believe that we have a raffle. But let me see if I can find Ed's last words here before I do that. Let me get the. Because he did. Yes. Okay, I'm going to read this word for word from Ed, because he did want me to get this in while Steve and Julie get ready for the raffle. And this is Ed. He said, I would like to leave you players with some last-minute advice. All the hard work you put in over your 4 years to get you to this point in your life will help you go forward in the future and face each and every adversity head on. Do not forget your teaching from your coaches and those that have led you. You will be better prepared as you move on from your high school years. When there is a bump in the road, hold your heads up, held high, like you were taught as football players from Shelton Rotary High School, because you've tried your best and given it your all. I wish all the seniors the best of luck in your future endeavors. That's from Ed G. Thanks, Ed. And I also want to wish Shelton the best of luck. As I've said, we know that they qualified for the playoffs. Hopefully you get a home game that we can all come and see at Shelton's. But best of luck and bring home that state championship that Bill has talked about. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Julie to do the raffle.
I get the easy part. Thank you, Jack. Everyone give a round of applause for Jack. Better you than me. All right, I'll do the first one, and it's a green ticket. The last number is 031.
Got it.
The next one's a red ticket. Last number 860. 86. Did you win?
No.
Oh. 860. You did win. Oh, green. No one has a pink ticket. All right. How about a green ticket? 042. You can go back and pick anything you want off the table. Green ticket 037. Oh, I hope those were the tickets. Okay, next one is 054. Jeff Forte from Shelton Rotary. A green ticket of 0 859 are the last three numbers. 859. A green ticket was 051. Was that you? Here, you can pick one.
Come on, Tyler. Come on, Tyler.
02B.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I already actually just took that on West Virginia. Come on, bro. Central already offered him.
049.
049. Green ticket, 049. Red ticket of 861. Red 861. We have a winner. Chris, how many more do we have to do? No? 11. Oh, okay, good. Whoa! 029. Green ticket 029. Ernie Louise.
017.
Green ticket 017.
003.
Green ticket number 3. 004. Oh, is it you? Congratulations, 004. Oh, good job. Little coach me.
002.
002. Green ticket 002. What?
Shake up.
Yeah, shake the bucket.
I'm gonna win right now.
862.
Red ticket 862.
Green ticket 041.
010.
Red ticket 857.
Red ticket 857. Kristen, how many do we have left? Okay.
Green ticket 039.
Is it you, Mordecai? I really did shake it.
Gonna have 009.
Oh yeah. Get one.
Alright. Oh, here goes the last one. Last one.
034.
034. Clearly not his. Oh, congratulations.
Sure color.
I just want to thank everybody for coming. All you kids, I want to thank your enthusiasm and all of our speakers and staff from Derby and Shelton. And we wish you all a very, very blessed Thanksgiving. And congratulations on all your prizes, especially you, Morcar.